Good God, I wanted to rant about this shit for years.
Oh, here we go.
For those of you that live in the United States, which is about 20% of you all right now, Fireman Sam is an animated children's show that was first released in 1987. Yeah, all you Americans, this show started 35 years ago. I know, right? And you all know why you didn't know that? Because this is a British show, and always intended to be a British show. Anyway, the show is set in the fictional Welsh town of Pontypandy, which is probably the most emergency-filled town, only second to Metropolis. Because in every episode, the citizens of Pontypandy are always dealt with some kind of emergency. Fires, rescues, hanging on ledges, and etc. Enter the Pontypandy Fire Brigade. Fireman Elvis Cridlington, Firefighter Penny Morris, Station Officer Steele, and of course, Fireman Sam. Whenever there's an emergency afoot, the Pontypandy Fire Service would always be there to help, no matter how ridiculous the situation is. The show originally ran for 4 seasons, and strangely at 8 episodes each. Yeah, not 26, not 13, 8. Wow. The animation from these seasons definitely wasn't the best.
Norman! Very sorry, Mrs. Lasagna. Sorry, Bella.
But the cheap animation can honestly be forgotten about because of everything else. The music was quite catchy and fun to listen to. The show had a charming sense of humor, and the voice acting was great. Especially when you find out years later that all the characters were voiced by the same guy. Yeah, that's right, John Alderton did all of the voices.
Bellissimo! It will be a beautiful cake for the party. Very good, Firefighter Morris. Cridlington and Evans are taking their time.
Well, too much exercise for unfit people can be dangerous, sir.
Hello? Oh, Bella's pizza! Hello? Hello? What's a good start? This phone's not working.
Yeah, not only did this guy play Trevor Evans the Bus, but he also played Bella Lasagna. Is that talent or what? A few years after the 4th season ended, the BBC and Hit Entertainment brought the series back with a 5th season. And I'm actually deciding on whether to call this the best season of the show. The stories were better, the action was better, the voices were better. Well, most of them anyway.
You've been at the licorice shoelaces again, haven't you? No, ma'am, never. Not me. Don't you fib, Norman Price. But, ma'am! Well, this time I'm going to stop your pocket money until you've paid for all of them.
Is Dillis transgender or something? The humor was a bit better, and the animation was infinity times better. I mean, good lord! But then, a few years after that season ended, they decided not to continue on this series of great animation, action, humor, and characters, and instead replace it all with a shitty CGI reboot, with shitty CGI animation, shitty characters, shitty stories, and shitty everything! Now let me just stop for a minute and talk about reboots in general. A reboot is basically taking a property or show that was popular and loved by many people years ago and then bringing it back into modern day television. And with that said, there are some pretty good reboots out there. Thunderbirds on Go, Danger Mouse, She-Ra, Morph, DuckTales. Some of these reboots try to take these already existing shows and sometimes make some elements from them seem a bit better than they were originally. For Morph, the animation. For Danger Mouse, the action, as well as the animation. Thunderbirds on Go, for completely redesigning and modernizing everything from the original show, and yet somehow keeping the same charm as the original. But of course, with all of these decent reboots, there are also some bad reboots. Ben 10 for focusing way too much on comedy instead of a good balance of comedy and action, even some dramatic moments. Postman Pat for not containing the same relaxing slice of life feel that the original show did, Bob the Builder for taking a cartoony looking show into a realistic, real life looking environment, Rosie and Jim and Brum for having nothing to do with the original shows, and I do mean nothing. And I can easily agree that CGI Fireman Sam is definitely one of those bad reboots. Why do I call this a reboot instead of just Season 6 onwards? Because Season 6 seriously feels like I'm watching a completely different show. The characters look and act different, the setting is different, the animation is different, the feel is different. One of the best things about Season 5 was because, even though it was made a few years after the original series ended, that season felt like a sequel season to the show. Kind of like Samurai Jack Season 5. The characters were the same, the setting was the same, the humor was the same, and some elements from the original seasons were present in this season.
Now let me demonstrate the Samuel Patent Potato Picker.
Oh! Look what I found! Sam's patented potato picker!
Oh, great fires of London.
Great fires of London.
And I'm pleased to welcome our good friend, Firefighter Penny Morris, who's come to put us through our paces.
Yes, indeed, Firefighter Morris. When it comes to fitness, you run rings around the rest of us.
But Season 6 has basically nothing connected to the 5th season or the other 4 seasons, except for Sam's catchphrase of Great Fires of London,
Great fires of London!
the characters' names, and the theme song. That's basically it.
So move aside, make way for Fireman Sam, cause he's gonna save the day. Fireman Sam, cause he's ready to the core. Sam is the hero next door.
The animation looks awful. Straight after a season featuring some of the best stop-motion animation I've seen in a while, suddenly transitioning into this animation is just... It looks as if nothing is rendered here. There's no complex lighting, there's no complex shading or anything. Robotic and forced movements in early seasons, poor water and smoke effects, and... Oh, here's something I've never noticed in the original footage of this video I used. They seriously left in a red line on the right side of the screen. Yes, the animation is so rushed that nobody in the whole studio noticed this obvious error from the animation software. This seriously makes Bob the Builder look like Moana. I mean, if Thomas and Friends Season 17 can look better than this, then these people definitely need to improve or they... Oh... That explains the terrible animation. It was made by a Chinese animation company. I mean, no offense to whoever originally animated this, and no offense to Chinese people in general, but... Really? Did they really have to have Chinese people animate a British children's show that's set in Wales and would later be shipped over to America? Yeah, try and think of all of that in your head. They seriously couldn't contact any British or Welsh animators for this? Hell, maybe they could have done how they're animating Thomas now and asked some American or Canadian animators to do this, but still asked them to keep the British feel to it. But no, they had to choose Zing Zing Digital for some reason. The new voices are just painful. Well, okay, most of them are. The voices for Sam, Penny, Mike, Trevor, Dillis, and Station Officer Steele are fine, but the rest... I can't stand listening to them. Some characters have almost the exact same voice as other characters.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Too right! What about my plane?
Bigger, eh? I can't miss that. Count me in.
But the voices for Elvis, Norman, Mandy, Sarah, and James... This is proof why we shouldn't have adult actors playing 8-year-old kids. I mean, in Season 5, they actually had an actress to play James.
Don't wriggle, Sarah. You'll just make it worse. Oh. It's okay, Rosa. You two hang on while I get help. It won't take me long to run to the phone box.
Why the hell couldn't they do the exact same thing here? Sure, Norman was still voiced by an actor in season 5.
Golly, you are well and truly stuck, aren't you? Your tongue looks drier than a ready salted crisp.
But that voice is way more tolerable than...
I'm so sorry, Mom. It's all my fault. I set the alarm off. I just wanted my ball back.
I'm sorry, Fireman Sam. I will never do it again, Fireman Sam. Oh, look, Fireman Sam. I am Norman Man. Please love me. Oh, I love you, Fireman Sam. Shut up. Steve Kyman is desperately trying hard to do an 8-year-old boy voice and a Welsh accent at the same time, but it comes out as a huge pile of annoyance. Maybe this is why you should have more than 4 actors. And Elvis's voice makes him sound like an absolute dumbass. Kind of similar to the new voice they gave Mark.
I get it, sir. Your nephew. Oh dear. I wonder if he's been trying to fly his kite. Nothing to be ashamed of, sir.
Elvis was always portrayed as the airhead of the fire brigade, but only every once in a while. Not to the point where a grown man who has decided by his own decisions to take the job as a fireman would be scared out of his wits of being in a helicopter harness. And when Cridlington did something wrong, like say breaking a water tap or damaging a drum, it was because either he was distracted by his love of music while he was doing his job.
Paint the door red, that's what he said. Rather do something groovy instead. Door's so big and the brush is so small.
Oh. Or he was trying to do the right thing, but it went wrong by accident. But now he seems to be in absolute retard mode, to the point where he feeds his dog chocolate, mistaking it for doggy treats, and not knowing that it could have made Radar here very sick, along with his retarded voice.
Have you been giving him lots of chocolate treats?
Well, no. Yes. Maybe a few.
Also, I don't know what any of you people think about this, but the CGI designs of these characters look so ugly to me. It's mainly the faces. The eyes look as though they're way too far apart from each other, and whenever it looks as though Elvis or someone is looking straight at us, he always looks as though he's derp-eyed all the time. Can anyone else see this? From the information I looked up, I hear that Zing Zing Digital is also responsible for the animation of Octonauts. I really didn't have a problem with the animation in that show, because the designs of the characters, like Quasi, Tweak, or Captain Barnacles, were way more simple in terms of design and articulation than these complex, fully detailed, realistic-looking designs of characters like Trevor, Elvis, and Norman. The music really isn't that great to listen to. Whenever I hear a sample of it, it sounds like the same exact melody every single time, but with a few notes switched around. And it's nowhere near as memorable or as catchy as the original music. Even the iconic rescue theme is boring in this series. The rescue theme in the original was catchy, and it has you a bit pumped to see the fire brigade in action.
All present and correct, sir. Right, let's go.
The remix of the theme in Season 5 is really amazing. It took the exact same theme from before, but it's performed with orchestral music. It has an epic build-up at the start.
Ah, Villa Lasagna's cafe's on fire. Action stations, men.
And it really has you pumped and rooting for the fire service. But the version in Season 6 onwards is really, really off. Especially that bit at the end of the theme that wasn't in the original, that they always have to put on loop until the rescue is over. It becomes really bland and unlistenable if you do that.
He's up there! Okay, we'll soon have him down. Can you take me up, Elvis?
Righto, Penny.
The humour, if you can even call it humour, isn't funny at all. There's no making fun of Trevor's weight, there's no funny remarks, there's no funny mistakes, there's nothing funny here whatsoever. And when they do try to do something funny, it doesn't work because either the performances from the characters are awful, the payoff is off, it happens when the situation or the show in general is meant to be taken seriously, or they just say an awful pun.
You made me crunch my lunch!
There are some elements from the original series that are just non-existent in the CGI series. The biggest example being Dilys Price and her shop. That looks absolutely nothing like Dilys Price. I mean, it can't be the same character. They look absolutely nothing alike. And that is definitely not Dilys' shop. They just completely redesigned it with no explanation given as to why, and it's now a supermarket, which I have to call bullshit about because a normal supermarket is like 10 times bigger than Dilys Price's general store. Maybe they redesigned the entire shop so that they wouldn't have any obvious product placements like they obviously did in the original.
Now, how about a cream egg for break time? Oh, yes, please, Uncle Sam.
Here's a better solution to that. Just black out the labels on the items and replace them all with simple blank shapes. You don't have to redesign the entire shop. Oh, and also, where the hell is Bella Lasagna? She is absolutely nowhere to be seen in the CGI series, but her cafe is still there, gathering dust, with no one ever mentioning it or Bella, and it hasn't already been redesigned into something else by someone else already. I mean, where the hell is she? Oh, there she is. In Season 10. Well, where in the holy mother of hell, heaven, and everything in between have you been?
Bella used to have a pizza restaurant in Pontypandy. Then she moved to Newtown.
Why? Bella was clearly around in Season 5, still having a business in her cafe, installing a new pizza oven in there, and clearly showing no signs of ever thinking, "Oh, mamma mia, my business is going down the drain. Maybe I shall move my business over to Newtown, without informing my customers, friends, and, dare I say it, family." Sayonara, go on and fuck yourselves! Seriously, am I missing something here? Did Hit Entertainment make a movie that takes place before Season 6 that completely explains all of these changes? Oh, wait. There isn't one? But the one thing that always annoys me and always makes me frustrated to no end about this CGI series is Norman. Norman motherfucking Christ Price! In the original series, Norman was a mischievous little scamp. He always likes playing tricks on his friends, and even the men at the fire station. But he did always know when there's an emergency, and when to call for help. And the problems that he caused by these tricks, He learnt his lesson and he never did them again for the remaining 5 seasons. But in the CGI series, he's a whiny, bratty asshole of a child who always wants to forcefully get whatever stupid thing he wants without ever thinking of others. For example, there's one episode where Norman ties James to a chair for a stupid stunt video in a room that is covered with flammable liquids. Jesus! And in another episode, Norman purposefully locks James in the swimming pool changing rooms just so he can do a stupid fucking dance.
We can't find James. He didn't do his froggy finale and
He's locked in the changing rooms.
What? How did that happen?
I wanted to be the star of the show, so I glued the door shut.
Norman Price? Go to hell! Okay, there's a difference between being mischievous and being a dick. A whiny, stupid, careless little dick. And with all of the tricks and stuff that he caused in the original series, I can understand most of the stuff that he did back then because it was the beginning of the series and Norman most definitely wouldn't have known about how the fire service needs to stay alert and on duty, or that keeping Trevor and Elvis running for so long might hurt them. But by the 6th season, he should already know not to mess around with fire equipment or to waste the fire brigade's time for something that they are not involved with. And all of his original tricks were all harmless things, like a clockwork mouse, or making stink bombs, or painting fake spots on people's faces, not locking someone in the changing rooms on purpose! Not to mention, Norman is the only character I've seen so far who causes these emergencies or fires, or is involved with them. In the original, Norman didn't normally cause these problems. I mean, Dillis accidentally knocked over his chemistry set. He didn't know that was going to happen. He accidentally fell into a coal mine because he was too distracted getting away from a swarm of wasps. And some accidents, Norman isn't even involved at all. That barn fire, Norman had nothing to do with it. He was fishing somewhere else. The TV exploding into flames, he had nothing to do with it. James falling off a cliff, Norman isn't even seen in the episode. But here, Norman causes nearly every single problem. The train shed fire, Norman. Tying James up in a chair, Norman. Stranding himself and his mom out to sea? Norman. Taking essential fire equipment and using them as boat oars? Norman. Setting off the fire alarm numerous times just so he can get his fucking football back? Norman. Convincing James to sit on the high, steep roof of the fire station? Norman! Stealing sausages from the shop to a camping trip when he wasn't allowed to and going off starting a fire in the middle of a forest in hot summer weather and not putting it out, allowing the summer heat to turn the smoke into flames and soon putting the entire forest on fire and, without the luck of a rainstorm, would have had all the townspeople evacuate and leave the unbeatable fire to burn down the whole of Pontypandy? Fucking Norman! Also, whenever Norman did cause the problem in the old episodes, not only did he get a severe talking to, but he did something embarrassing to him, or do chores to teach him some kind of lesson. But here, they always just let him off with a warning, in which he would immediately forget about the next episode, and nothing else. You know what I would do in this situation? I would kick Norman and Dillis, because she's his mom, out of Pontypandy for permanent exile. Hopefully then the fire service will have a massive, long-deserved break. Or, for that matter, why doesn't anyone just arrest this little monster? Well, I mean, if the fire brigade and nurses have been established to exist in the CGI series, then where the hell is the police? Shouldn't they have been involved in most of these stuff?
Who's that?
I
want everybody to give a warm Pontypandy welcome to our new police officer, PC Malcolm Williams.
I'd like you to welcome my new boss, Sergeant Rose Ravani.
I would like to welcome you all to your new Pontypandy police station.
Where, oh where, in the holy grandmother of hell, heaven, space, time, matter, mother nature, temperature, the sun, the moon, the sky, the sea, potatoes, cabbages, and electric alarm clocks have you two been this whole time? Oh, and guess what? Norman causes half of the hazardous problems in season 12, and these officers don't arrest him. No week behind bars, no community service, not even so much as cleaning Jupiter. They just do the same warning thing that Sam always does. You guys had the chance to end it all for good right then and there, and you blew it. Now all of you people are obviously thinking that I am thinking way too harshly about all this. I mean, they clearly wouldn't arrest an 8-year-old child in a toddler show, a milkshake toddler show, but again, have you seen the damage Norman does on a regular basis? He nearly burnt the whole of Pontypandy because of his greed and selfishness. It was only by pure luck that the fire was put out at the end of the movie. They were going to abandon the fire and evacuate the whole town because it was too strong. Need I say more?
You made a campfire? Oh, Norman Price, you've done it this time! Right, where's your mother?
So, either permanent exile or send him to Welsh court. Neither of which is likely to ever happen on the show. But, I'm telling you, Pontypandy would be a much safer place if they did. So yeah. CGI Fireman Sam sucks major donkey balls. It should have been cancelled after the 5th season. It should have never have been sent over to the USA. And it should be cancelled and replaced with some new show. Right now.
Cheerio now.
When he used the fire bell chime.